Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Phew, last week. This is, I think, the first live that I have done in a while. I kind of gave myself a break last week and got some things done around the house. How about you guys? Did you have a good holiday weekend last week? I sure hope so. Um, yeah, when you come in, let me know that you're here and tell me where you are watching from. I am trying to get my comments up here in one spot. I'm struggling, you guys. I'm struggling. It's like I never have done it before. Why is that the way it goes sometimes? Okay, I got it. I got it. So, today we're going to do something a little bit different. And I'm launching a new series called Tiny Tuesday. And it's not going to always be teeny tiny. And we'll do a variety of things. And, just kind of small things, right? It's kind of fun to do some small projects and be able to, get done with them. Or I just like small. I don't know about the rest of you. How many of you like doing kind of small projects? And I'm sorry about my voice. I've been kind of struggling with this crazy voice. I think I know what's wrong, but I probably should have had something warm to drink or something right before I came on, but I didn't. I didn't do it. All those things that you just gotta take the time and do them, huh? But I don't think it's anything serious or anything that is wrong. So thank goodness, right? But yeah, tell me, did you were you home over Thanksgiving or did you go somewhere? I am anxious to find out. Hey Sarah, hi Becky. How are you guys doing? I know we got some other people on too. Um Maybe. I don't know what's going on with my comments. Maybe there aren't any comments yet. That could happen. Hey Martha, how are you doing? Do you have a good Thanksgiving? I hope so. Hope you had a good Thanksgiving. So today, okay, so we're gonna launch Tiny Tuesday. We're gonna do some small things, and it could be anything from little tiny drawings, small. I'll just say small. I like Tiny Tuesday because it sounds fun. It's fun to say, right? I like saying that. So today we're gonna do a little bit of some coloring with colored pencils in a small little scene that I'm going to stamp. And I think sometimes, we have products and things that we own and we just don't use them very often. I don't know why. They just kind of get pushed to the side, right? But let me put you down here to the workspace and I'll show you what I've got here. I've got a couple of hang on, you guys can hear me okay, right? Hi, Nancy. Hi, Dana. Oh, Sarah says she hosted Thanksgiving at her house this year with her husband's side, and Christmas will be with her side of the family. Oh, that's fun. Oh, I tell you what, last year we had a huge Thanksgiving. My husband's family decided they would all come. They kind of invited themselves, and that was fun. They hadn't all been here before for Christmas. He has like three siblings, and so with some of their kids and grandkids, and oh my goodness, we had a house full. That's for sure. Let's see. Well, you must be able to hear me because that was because I had been asking what you guys had been doing. I love art impressions stamps. The lady who designs these, her name is Bonnie Krebs, and she does such an incredible job. One of the things I really enjoy about her items when she does drawings, is her perspective. And perspective is to get it right, like if you're looking at something and then part of it, like the side of a house or something, is going off in the distance. And the lines don't just stay usually just straight across unless that's the angle you're looking at. And she does such a magnificent job of getting those lines, to where they look right. So even her tiny little drawings they look fine. Now, for what we're going to do with our colored pencils today, I think I'm going to go ahead and use this small little scene because it'll give me a chance to show you some little tips in here. Now, that's one of the things I always hope that I can offer you some tips, you know, things that you might know, and it'll be a reminder. Sometimes it's a reminder to me when I, you know, get them out and I start working on them. Hi, Sherry. So that's always, you know, you just never know, right? Sometimes you get out things. Sometimes I feel like I may have forgotten how to use things more than I remember. Oh, hang on, I got sneeze. Oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness. So I'm just going to take this out and we're going to stamp this. I thought about grabbing out one of my stamp positioners, but I didn't. I didn't do it. So we're just going to go with this. Oh, I don't know. That is the tiniest backing sheet. Look at that. That is teensy. Let's see. I better put that somewhere where I can find it again. You know, acetate. You got some acetate going on there, and it could be hard to find, right? Oh, wait. Oh, that little thing is sandwiched. And I was just thinking, how is that going to come off of there? Or how's it going to stick to my block? It seems really, really slippery on that side. Well, that's because it was slippery on that side. Okay, I'm going to take this and I'm just going to, oh my goodness, there's something nasty under my nail. That's embarrassing. There's no telling what that is. And I still got bruises everywhere, you guys. Man, you know, after I had to start taking like a baby aspirin every day, it's like everything I do is bruising. I'm not on any other kinds of blood thinners or anything. But, oh my goodness. Okay, now one of the things with the technique that we're going to use today, I want to use something that it isn't going to smear. And I tell you what, these Ranger archival inks are great for being able to, you can use them with a variety of things. What we're going to do is we're going to stamp it. I'm just going to use black and then we'll color it in. And then we're going to blend out the colored pencil with something called Gamsol. Have you ever used any of this? Let me know if you are familiar with what this is or if you've used it. And this just happens to be this brand. You can get it at, you know, a lot of art supply places, but it's called Gamsol, Gamsol. And basically what it is it is like an odorless type of mineral spirits is what I understand it to be. Hey, Susan, how are you? Yeah, this is going to be fun and so cute. So then when you use this, you have to have something with it. And they make these things that are called a paper stump. And these are going to be tiny, tiny places. And I'm just going to use this tiny one. I have several sizes. Paper stumps come in all kinds of sizes. And then what you can do to like clean it off is, well, look, I've never even used this. This is kind of like, well, I don't think it's kind of like, this seems to be sandpaper. And so I can take this and like, can you see there's a little bit of color on there? And so if it gets really dirty, I can just rub it on here and clean it off. Now, a lot of times when you're doing colors and doing similar projects, that's really not going to matter if you get a little bit, you know, mixed in. And a lot of times painting and doing different kinds of coloring techniques, it's actually kind of nice to be able to have some of that blending of colors going. It makes it seem, I don't know, a little bit more, well, I would say more interesting, right? So we are just going to stamp this up and hopefully, you know, I should have just stamped one beforehand, but I didn't. You know, I didn't do it. Now I am going to put a piece of this under here and hopefully we can get our best impression. So I'm just going to stamp it like this, and actually since this is a new stamp, I might want to stamp it off a couple times. And this is why it is so great to have those stamp positioning tools. They are just game changers. I should have taken time and pulled one out, but I didn't even think about it till I sat down here and it was time to start. All kinds of new to you tools. Of course, and it's not ever really my intention to, make you feel like you've got to go out and buy all this stuff. But, and I tell you what, this technique actually works. I felt that sandpapery stuff. This technique will actually work with a Q-tip and a little bit of baby oil. It will do the same thing. Okay, you guys, shall we see? Well, that's not too bad. It could have been better, but I'm gonna go with it, because then we can just go ahead and get started. So, but if I had it in one of those stamp positioning tools, I could have just inked it again, flipped it right over, and it would be good to go. So let's get some colored pencils out. You guys, when I was saying that our colored pencils, I think a lot of times we have a lot of things in our stash or products and things, and we just don't get them out and use them. It's not necessarily that we don't know where they are. Sometimes that's the case. In my case, sometimes that's what it is, that I don't know where I put it. But a lot of times it's just like they're in, I don't know if they've gone into witness protection because they don't want to be found or whatever. They don't want to be seen. Like I said, I know where they are. They're just in there hiding out. So you can do this with any kind of colored pencils. Gosh, I gotta remember what we're using. So you can just use anything. I mean, if you've got some Crayola pencils, you could use those. And actually, Crayola colored pencils and the Crayola watercolors that are just meant for kids, kind of, not really. They really have a fair amount of pigment and work pretty well. Hi, Betty. How are you doing? So we're going to I'm going to show you some tricks on here. Let me see. I think that might be, yeah, that's as close as I can get, you guys. So let's just we're going to leave these houses. We're going to just kind of do it like the little scene. That's another thing. Always in your packaging, check and see on your packaging if there are ideas for you to, to see, and an idea of how you might want to color it. Sometimes the first time, that's always kind of fun. So it looks to me like we've just got a great mix of colors. Let me just color these. I'm just going to color the stuff in for now. We will just use, we'll leave the roofs white so that we can see them. What in the world here? I've got something that has come up on my screen and I need to move it so I can see what I'm doing. How crazy is that? Okay. So we're just gonna lay a little bit of color in here, and like so many things, the more color that you lay down, the deeper or the brighter it's going to be. So you want to think about how on buildings one side is going to be darker than the other, right? So maybe I just won't put as much over here because I don't have like another, well, I do have another blue, but I don't know how it compares to this. So we're just going to put, and maybe these will be just some fun little color houses. So one of the things when you lay down color with colored pencils, you notice how a lot of times it looks grainy, right? Oh, and I got to tell you, this is a very smooth paper to work on for this technique. You got to have an ink that's not going to run. We used the Ranger's Archival ink, and then you've got to have some paper that is fairly smooth. But um, a lot, if you get papers that are kind of meant for um, alcohol markers, those are the same kind of a slick, paper that will work fairly well for this as well. So, you guys, talking about these little, well, all of them are fairly small. They're not all this small, but the art impression stamps, the other day, last week, I decided I would go ahead and I would organize them. And oh my goodness, you guys, I had so many more than I thought because they were in several places. And so, what I ended up doing, I mean, I took them across the building and put them in the evidence locker. And people will have to have special clearance to get over there to see how much is over there. That's not going to be just known to everyone. So they're just living over there. But I did put them in a file drawer that's the evidence locker. And I put them all, they're all in their original packages. And then I kind of just filed them, so to speak. They just are standing up and they're all in the numerical order of their little part numbers. And that way, and I also have a spreadsheet of them. And in my spreadsheet, I have the item number, what the name of the stamp set is, and then off to the side, I have, and then I have whether it is a stamp set or stamp and dies or just dies. And then I have another column, and that part is I actually put down everything that is on the stamp set, so that if there's little buildings, if there's trees, all the things that might be separate little pieces, I put those all down, so that then if I want to build a little scene, I can go back in and I can find what I need. I can just search it then. I know. You probably didn't know. I always talk about how I'm just not organized. Can you believe that? I don't know. Who knew? Who knew I could be that organized? We're just going to put some color down here on these. I tell you, these are kind of small. I don't know that I'm going to be able to do what I told you and kind of do a lighter version on one side and darker on the other. Who knows? But how many of you like to use colored pencils? I want to know. A lot of time, that's really close to that other color. Let's do something else. Oops, well, there went that one. You just don't think sometimes about using some of these kinds of things for your coloring. We always are using something, right? Now, I think I'm going to have to check this out. If we put the little, they almost look like little, I don't even know what you would call those. They're like little wooden things up here in the beams. Now, I don't have to do all of that. Let's see, what shall we color the church, you guys? Well, you always like a little white church, but I think we're going to have some color today. I think it needs a little color. You know what? Let's make it this little soft green color. How about that? Let's try that. Now, the fun part when we get ready in a second and you get to see how this works, you're just going to be so surprised. Okay, now let's give the snowman a little black on his hat for his top hat. And let's give him his little carrot nose. These are so tiny. Let's do a little bit. Put coal for his buttons. Whoops, I kind of got out of the lines there. And let's see, what should we give him for some gloves? Let's just use a different color here of blue. I don't know, these are such small spaces. I don't know if it'll look like. Oh, we should have put red mittens. Wouldn't that be fun? There's not a good red here. Oh, that's weird. Okay, and well, I didn't finish this. Oops, that's the wrong color. Oh, you guys. I know, you're probably like, that woman is crazy. Okay, now let's put some brown on our doors. And then I'm going to show you another trick here in a second. We're going to leave a lot of this with the snow everywhere, but I'm going to show you a trick that really helps things that are left in white pop on there. Hi, Kay, how are you? Let's, oh, I need some more color here. I don't know, should we put a little, maybe we can put a little bit of dark gray up there on top of that. The little steeple. Okay, maybe a little here too on a chimney. This town has gray chimneys. All gray chimneys. Let's go ahead and let's put some brown on the doors. Maybe I'll do a couple of colors of brown. Let's use this other one. Okay, so this is about, you know, all the color that we need. And now I'm going to go back in and, oh no, wait, before that, the way that we're going to do the snow, to just leave it white, we're going to add just a tiny bit of gray. And the gray would be like a shadow to the snow, right? So you would put it, and you can use something that's a real pale blue too. I don't have a pale blue that I see over here. So instead, we're just going to use a very pale gray. And then we're just going to kind of put it at the edge of the roof. And it would probably be a little bit underneath the sides, because that would be under, right? And let's put a little down here. Because the snow, you know, as it kind of banks up, if you do this, it kind of gives it a little bit of depth. And then the same, oh, I see our guy needs a scarf. Well, I don't know why there's not red in here. That seems silly. Let me see. Let me see if there's a red over here. I got another set out here too. Oh, here's a red. Here's a great red. So let's give him a little red on his scarf. I mean, these are such tiny spaces, it's kind of a little bit hard to give it, you know, much depth and dimension. But, you know, I don't know. I think we're gonna work on it, right? So we got a little bit of gray up there. Oops, I see another spot here. You guys, these are so small. I keep how could I keep missing little tiny spaces? Okay. And so now when you've got something that's kind of round, you want to, you know, give it some kind of dimension and shape by just doing like the outside. So we're going to do along the edges here and the bottom. That. This face is probably too small. We could also put a little bit down here. And along these trees, since they're just white, we've got, we'll just do this and give that some dimension. So then when we come back in here with our solution, we're going to hit these along here, and then we're going to see if it comes to life. Well, we've already got a frosty in there. We might as well have it come to life, right? Okay. So we've got that going on. And we could put a little bit along the walkway to kind of make it look like it's been shoveled. And it's got a little bit of depth. Okay, this is house 2. Okay, are you ready? Are you ready to see the magic, everybody? Let's see how it looks. Okay, so I'm going to get this out. I'm going to get that teeny tiny little stump out. Well, I did already. What did I do with it? Oh, you guys, where is my assistant, you guys? Oh, gosh. Seriously? Oh, I cannot believe I did that. What did I do with the teeny tiny one? Okay, well, I have no idea. Well, but we'll go with it. We still have others. This'll work still. Still, it'll work. Okay, so remember, like gosh, I wish I could get that in closer for you guys. Yes, if you're going to do watercolor, then watercolor paper is your best bet. Because some of these things can't hold up to a whole lot of, where's our gold color? We need that. I didn't do the star. We didn't do the star. And as long as, before I start blending that out, let me see. I needed another softer blue. One of the things that you can do is you can just take a little bit of a color for sky, and you don't have to do the whole thing. Just do a hint. Now you want to lay enough down though that we can, blend it out a little. But it doesn't have to be, you don't have to cover the whole thing. You just want a little bit of a hint. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it, people. So I'm going to stick that in there. And then I'm just going to let's start by doing some of these gray colors. And we're just going to soften those up. And probably here, you might not even hardly notice it on the screen. But we're just going to blend them out. And it just kind of takes the little greeny parts of the pencil and kind of disperses them in a different way. I don't even know what you call that. I don't even know. But we've got all of those. There's a little bit of gray up here. And it just softens it. I should have got another thing that you can use too, you guys, is they make a white acrylic paint. And that can be handy too. You can sprinkle that, you can kind of spatter that on for your snow. Some of these places I did better. But this roof right here is a lot better. Let me hold it up, you guys, so you can see. Okay, so see how the gray has kind of softened out where I have used the Gamsol on it. Okay, now let's go ahead and let's start working. I still can't believe, I don't know. Talking about missing things, there's always something that goes missing here. And I think that, for a long time it was my circle punch, and that finally was found. And now I'm not so sure that it's somewhere missing again. But we just have numerous disappearances here in my workspace. And you know what? I think between, some other discoveries that I have made last week and finding things, I think that we are going to have to launch my Artful Adventures unit of CSI, Craft Scene Investigation. What do you think? So now I'm going to color these in and smooth them out. So, that's how that's going to be. We're going to have to investigate some of these things. So I already told you, I've already got the evidence locker in place. And you know what? The case of the missing fabric scissors is still an ongoing investigation. Still, I have no idea where they are. And I keep thinking that they will pop up, but to date, they have not. So, if you want to call into the tip line, if you have any information on those, just let me know, okay? Let me know if you know that. Oh, you guys, this will be fun. This will be fun. We've got lots of things that we're probably going to have to, research and solve the crimes. Or at least mysteries. They might not really be crimes, but they are certainly mysteries. Look at this, you guys. I'll hold this up in a second. Look at this. When I went over the pink right here, you can still see where it's stamped. So that's kind of nice. I didn't even have to try to do those teeny tiny lines right there. Okay, let's go on to the orange house. I think I've got, oh, I didn't do this part up here. And this stuff will dry. When it dries, you can't see it. It'll get a little bit of a, well, that looks kind of dirty. Hang on a second. That's probably from some of that gray. And then you just, get this off of there. You guys, I still can't believe, I still just keep saying that. I can't believe I've lost the little tiny stump. I don't know what happened to it. We still have to do some, let's see, we've got the little doors, I think the windows. But it just takes, just a little touch. And my goodness, with little spots this small, it doesn't take much. So we've done that lightest part with the yellow. So now I think we can go on missing numbers stamp. Oh, Martha, is that what kind of an investigation we're going to have to do for you? You've got missing number stamps. Oh my goodness. I mean, we're going to have a lot of cases to log, I'm afraid. How many of you have a case that needs solved like that? Oh, let's see. What else did we not do? Oh, we didn't do his hat. The little chimneys need a tiny bit. The star. I should probably use the other end of that. The star. But, if you've got these tiny pointy things, these are probably a lot better. Like I said, you can use this technique and simply use, a cotton swab. But, my goodness, it's going to be awfully small. Hi, Linda. How are you? Welcome, welcome. Okay. So, let's see how this is coming along. What do you think? Coming along nicely. Those trees... we maybe should put a tiny bit of green in the trees because you would still see some of the green, right? I mean, even if they were covered with a lot of snow, we'd probably still see a little bit of green here and there. So I really think we need to add a little bit of green. And then I should also grab out that white paint so I could show you how you can dab some of that on and really make it come to life. Okay, so let's do that. Thanks, Linda. Okay, so now I'm going to open it up again. Linda, we're just using some colored pencils and then a little bit of Gamsol to kind of soften them. I think colored pencils sometimes we kind of forget about using them for things. Let me use little bit of green on this tree. We don't want to leave him out. People don't like to be left out, do they? Okay. All right. I think I've got all the major things done there. Okay, what do you think? See, look how it softens up the color. And it's just fun. It's just a fun little painting, right? Or, well, not painting. Kinda. We can call it whatever we want to, right? We're just going to call it whatever we want. Hang on one second and let me grab the white paint. And let me show you what you can do. Let me see if I can have a teeny tiny. I do need a tiny brush for this. Let me see if I can find one quick. Well, I think we'll have to make hang on a second. I'm sorry for the crinkle and noise. Oh my goodness. Oh, that's too big. Okay, hang on a sec. Let's just use this. Now, this is Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White. And this is acrylic paint. And you can just take a tiny bit. Just going to get a little bit. And you can begin to, whoa, oh my goodness. Well, that's interesting. Always take the cover off your paint. You can add some, you know, white on here and make it a little bit even more white. You could sprinkle it. You could tap it off. You could make little dots. This isn't really adding a lot because we've got so much white going on already. So I don't even know that this is, except it does give it a little bit of texture, you know, if that's what you would like to do. Just a tiny bit. Yeah, I'm not that impressed with this on this particular thing. Oh, I know what though that we need to do. You guys, we need to go back in and lay some on top of our chimneys. Maybe a little bit on the roof there. So we just added a tiny bit. But, you know, I mean, in something, if it's a little bit bigger and you can add some like that, then it makes a big difference. What's something else? Oh, we did not blend out the sky. I just noticed that. Can you believe there's so many little parts on a tiny, tiny thing like this that you gotta just keep going back when you realize you missed one? So, like I said, you don't have to really do everything. You don't have to color it solid. You just want a hint of sky. Just a little hint. And this is going to soften those little grains of the colored pencils and just give us a little softer look. And then it'll dry. Right now it has a little bit of a feel of kind of a gray because it turns the paper that color. But there we go. Isn't that cute? Isn't that fun? And just something fun to do. You guys, being creative and taking time to, you know, do different things, you just don't have to, they don't have to be big. They don't have to be super involved. A lot of times you might just be practicing something that you haven't done in a long time. And I hope that you do that. I hope you, you know, spend time and, you know, do things like that. So who has colored pencils that they could use? And do you have, if you want to try this, you don't even have to go out and buy something. Do you, maybe a tiny bit of baby oil if you've got that? Of course, who has baby oil anymore? I don't know. I'll just go buy some Gamsol. Although I will say I have no idea how much that was. I've had that for a long time. And I have no idea how much that might run at this point. But anyway, that's it. That's our first Tiny Tuesday. So I'm planning to do this weekly for something small. It's not always going to be coloring or painting or anything. I mean, we're going to do the whole 9 yards of, the things that we like to do here on my page, which can cover a lot because it is my Artful Adventures. And when you say my Artful Adventures, I want you to be meaning yourself, because we're all on some kind of artful adventures, right? Everybody has their own. Okay, Linda says she has watercolor pencil. That is another fun thing. We'll have to do that one day. If you're going to use watercolor pencils, it's best to use watercolor paper, because, and it depends on how big your scene is, or how much you need to add some water. But it's always a good idea when you're using anything much with water to use watercolor paper, or at least a mixed media paper. Guys, my hair is sticking out sideways over there. At least some mixed media paper that's kind of heavy and can take a little bit more moisture than your other regular papers. But yeah, every kind of paper, you guys. I had some new markers that I got. No, they weren't new markers. They were something that was found. Again, craft scene investigation. Found them in a, where did I find them? Like in a, I don't even remember. Oh, they were up here in one of my bins that is hard to get to. And I finally found them up there. And so I was trying them on some different paper. I'd seen a lady use them. And it was so much fun watching how she was using them. And so I come in there and I wanted a blender pen. So my blender pen comes and I rush right in. And the first piece of paper that I grab to practice on, that stuff wouldn't move for love nor money. And I thought, oh, you guys, that's because every paper is different, and different kinds of products work so different depending on what kind of media that you're using. So don't give up. Don't think that you weren't able to accomplish something that maybe you saw somebody else do, because it might just be a tiny element that you have changed from the person that you watched. And so I would always say, go back and watch, see if they tell you what they have used. That's always important, because so many things can work so differently together. And yes, Crayola makes watercolor pencils, and they're not expensive. And I was just saying, Linda, before you got on here, I was just saying that Crayola makes some good products. I tell you, for the price they are, they usually have a fair amount of pigment in them, and they work really well. We, a lot of times, become so dismissive of, what we think of as kind of inexpensive art products. And we shouldn't, because so many times, there are a lot of good there are a lot of good products out there that don't have to break the bank, right? So yeah, just play. Exactly, just play. See what you want, and reach out to other people too. Ask them, tell them what's happened, and if they have a clue why whatever you were doing didn't work out the best for you. We have, between so many of us, we have a lot of experience, right? Between our friends who watch, those of us who are on here presenting, there is a world of experience out there, you guys. So don't hesitate to ask, right? Well, we're always glad to help, right? Yes, Artist Loft makes watercolor pencils. There's a lot of good watercolor pencils. One of them I really like, which I found, it was a class that I was doing, and the lady suggested them. They're called ink tints. I think it's like Derwent or somebody. And oh my goodness, the ink tints, the tints is the word. I mean, they are so colorful. There's so much pigment and color in those things. I mean, they are a lot of fun to use. If you like bright, I mean, if you don't like bright stuff, then it probably aren't for you. You guys, I am going to let you go. And again, I'll show you my tiny, I've got to show you my little tiny scene today. So I'll be back next. Oh, I don't know if that, did I just take it all wonky putting it up there. I don't know. No, it focused. It's a little behind. I see the lag. But yeah, be back next week. Mark it on your calendar. We'll do Tiny Tuesday next week, and we'll do something else. You guys, thanks for joining me today. Have fun and take care. Be well. Oh my goodness. Be well for sure. We got so many friends that are not feeling well today. So my best wishes to you. Have a great December, and I will talk to you next week. Well, I'm actually on more days this week, so I mean it's not like I'm not gonna be here. So yeah, I'll be on tomorrow as well. I think at 2 Eastern, 1 Central. I'll see you guys. Bye bye.